Okay, so specifically for the technology suppliers, what kind of support? Some of them I have already mentioned them, but in addition to the most attractive one, that in principle is the funds you can receive, which is 100,000 euros, because as I mentioned in previous presentation, the whole amount is 200,000 euros for the whole consortium, but there is a strict distribution that needs to be observed. We cannot provide other amounts. It's 50,000 euros for the manufacturing SMEs, 50,000 euros for the artists, and 100,000 euros for the technology suppliers. Why more to the technology suppliers? For the simple reason that the technology suppliers need to provide the technology, need to invest to and probably to develop or to finalize the technology. A very important thing is that for those of you who are looking for a test bed for your technology, this is the right place because you will be able to test your technology in a real factory that belongs to the manufacturing SME. Again, in prevention of potential questions regarding this, the manufacturing companies have to be factories. They have to have produce. They have to fabricate. So the technology supplier, no, they can have a technology that has been developed or is being developed, almost developed, and they will be able to test that technology in that factory. We will give you business support because, again, the idea is that all the members of the consortium taking part of the KTE are sustainable, and not only the collaboration between the three partners can be sustainable and can be a long-term relationship, but also for each one of the partners, we want them to be sustainable. And if you develop a technology that this is, I would say, maybe the first test you do with your technology, but of course that you find other potential customers, not only using the ramp, and of course ramp is going to be the marketplace to do that, to provide your services and to make them available for manufacturing SMEs, but you will surely need also some support for further investment. And for that, Better Factory is going to provide also some support. Of course, training on how to use the ramp platform, because ramp, as I saw from one question in the previous presentation, is not an easy platform to use at this point, no? So you don't have to worry because you will have received the needed training to use ramp for your benefit for this project and for your own projects. And regarding ramp, this is the platform where you will be able to be in touch and to connect with a lot of manufacturing SMEs, not only the one you are going to do the project with, and also with other artists, etc. You will be able to get access to this apps tool that will also be very useful for your customers. Okay, and you will be able, in the end, to sell your services through this platform. Okay, coming back to the phase we are involved now in, which is the step one, which is this individual application you need to submit. There are some specific criteria that we are going to check with the technology suppliers. This, in the application form, if you follow the questions, you will realize that We will detect if you comply with them or not. In any case, I recommend always to use the guidelines that are in the microsite of Funding Box for the Better Factory First Open Call. And there you have the guidelines not only for the SMEs or the artists, there is specific guidelines for the technology suppliers where you have basically all what I have said this morning is in there. You know, the process, the execution of the process, how to apply. Even there is a how to apply section where we are giving you hints on the application form, how do you need, what do you need to do, or etc. But another section is regarding the eligibility criteria that is included there. Here, it is an extraction of these criteria. I would say that administrative criteria that apply. One is the country where you are from. It's important to note that we are not only talking about the European Union members, but also the H2020 associated countries. There is a number of countries, so I don't know them by heart right now, but there is a list that is in the guidelines. Countries such as Norway, Switzerland, Iceland, but other countries that are not even in Europe, like Tunisia, or if I may remember, that can also apply. Okay, or can also be a member of a consortium. And then there's the specific case of the UK that after the Brexit, it has been decided that for the time being, they are still eligible. Okay, so the technology suppliers, we are pretending them to be SMEs or mid caps. I had a question before in a previous presentation about whether the RTOs can apply or not. Okay, an RTO can of course be a technology supplier, but the thing is that in this project, as in many projects, recent projects from the European Commission, we are focusing on SMEs and either mid-caps, sometimes on slightly bigger companies, but SMEs. The concept of a company that can make a business out of the out of the experiment they or the project they are experimenting. So I wouldn't say that if you are not, not if you are an RTO, you are excluded automatically, but SMEs and mid-caps are prioritized, and uh, probably in this phase of pre-selection, we are not going to admit any RTO, only SMEs and mid-caps. That means that the support that technology suppliers we are going to give to in this phase, step one and step two is SMEs and mid-caps. Then we might think if there is, we still need to think about, and we have the time to do that, for the open call, the joint phase or the full proposal phase, we might think internally if we, in certain circumstances, uh, admit SMEs, but of course from outside. Sorry, SMEs, RTOs, but of course from outsiders, not from the technology suppliers that we are going to give some support in this phase, step one and step two. I don't know if this is not clear. Please ask me later. Important thing is that the applicants need to have an interest, of course, in collaborating with manufacturing companies and artists and use RAMP. Okay, the word RAMP is going to be used every day in here. It's very important because it's, as I say, is the platform where everything is going to happen, all the relationship, all the collaboration, etc. But of course, we would like to see what's your experience in if you have worked with manufacturing companies before, if you have deployed robotics and agile solutions before, especially to reduce the use of waste, energy, resources, logistics. But in any case, you can also see that the use of agile solutions and mostly agile and robotics are combined, because to get uh, efficiency in cost production, etc., through the agile and agility is done through the use of robotics. Okay, so this is important for us to know. And another thing is that whether you are used or not to collaborate in international environments. That doesn't mean that in the end, the consortium you are going to take part has to be cross-border or has to be an international consortium. You will always be able to uh, conform a consortium that applies, and the three members are from the same country. That's no problem. But we understand that at this stage, that technology suppliers that have uh, an international experience are better positioned than the ones who have not. Okay, so for the application submission, um, the, this is the microsite that you can apply for. And instead of going through it, I recommend you to go to the guidelines and the guides and documents section, where you can find the guidelines. And please, of course, read the guidelines before submitting. You also have, in addition to the guidelines, the application form in a Word format, so that you can work offline instead of uh, starting a new application online and having to write everything online, etc. And then you might lose your data for any reason. There is a way to download the same application form in Word. You work offline, and then once you are done, you can write it to the application form online and then submit it. Of course, when you submit the application, you will receive a confirmation, at least not an email confirmation. You will just receive, or you will see a pop-up saying, okay, your application has been submitted. And then if you, for example, here you can see, here you will find the applications you have started or submitted. Okay, so if there is a new application, you can start, but it has, you will see the application has been submitted. So sometimes people ask us, hey, I haven't received any confirmation email or that. No, it's already in the platform. That first with this pop-up, and then second, that when you get into the platform again, you will see that this application has been submitted. And um, in case you have any questions, you always have the possibility of uh, going to our help desk, which is in this there. And there you just have to register the Funding Box platform with your credentials. You get into the help desk, you put a question, and we, as soon as we receive the question, we will do our best to reply it as quick as possible. And that's all from my side. There's the Better Factory website. This is the project website, which is not the same as the microsite specifically for the applications. We are on Twitter, we are on LinkedIn, and again, you can contact us whenever you want. You have until the 18th of March to submit your application. And more or less, once you have submitted your application, you will receive a reply in 2-3 weeks time maximum. The last thing I would like to mention is that this is the first webinar we are doing. We are going to repeat this webinar on the 9th of March. For those of you who would like, maybe today you don't have too many questions, but on the 9th of March, the deadline is approaching and you have more questions. So, but now it's time for questions and answers. So, I don't know, Anka, if we have.
Yeah. Okay, hello again. Yes, we did have some more questions throughout your presentation. One of them is, what rate? What percentage do tech suppliers have to come up with on their own?
Nothing. I mean, that's an interesting question. And I would say that in the previous presentations, we haven't mentioned that. The money we are giving, in this case, 100,000 euros for the technology suppliers, it's in total 200,000 for the whole consortium. So the whole consortium is going to receive what we call a lump sum. That means that there is no cost justification to be done or whatsoever. We are going to pay you upon the quality of the deliverables you need to submit. There are going to be some works, some reports, some deliverables that along the timeline or the time frame of the project are going to be requested. This is going to be explained, of course, when time comes, when we launch the guide for applicants for the open call for the consortia. There we will explain what's the deliverable, what's the lump sum, and how things are going to be paid, etc. But just for you to know that the concept of the lump sum is that we are paying against deliverables. So it's not that you need to justify anything. So if you don't need to justify anything, of course, you on your own, if you decide to do so, because with 100,000 euros, you don't have enough money to deploy or to develop or to provide the technology you want to provide, then of course you can put money on your own in addition to that. But in fact, that's not the idea. We are not going to request to anyone to put any money. It's the opposite. We are giving you money to be able to do that experiment. So if I was you, I would say I prefer to provide a technology that doesn't require further investment at this point to do the experiment and get this 100,000 euros, and that's it. You are going to receive these 100,000 euros in different installments because, as I said, there are going to be different deliverables that are going to be defined later on in the process when the open call starts. So that's a question that will be explained probably in a webinar when we explain the open call for the joint proposal phase. Another question?
Okay, next question is who owns the technologies and IP developed in the project?
That's another good question, and I cannot give you a 100% proper answer because, in principle, you are going to be the owner of the technology, but we might ask you to give us as a project the right of use, okay, of use during the project, the data you are putting in ramp, okay. So the ownership of the product, of the novelty, of the technology is yours, is from the consortium, or even within the consortium from the partner who is providing this product. But during the lifetime of the project, we will ask you to give us the right of use of the data contained, not the right of the ownership of any ownership, but the right of use of the technology.
Okay, another question.
But this is going to be defined in the guide for applicants. So the guide for applicants for the open call, the full proposal open call, will be available to you in the same microsite. Now it's not available, of course, because we are in phase one, in step one, but it's going to be available by, say, the end of April. And there, in the guide for applicants, there will be specific definition on the IP rights, who owns who, what, etc. Sorry.
Okay, where do we find more technical info about the apps tool?
At this point, you can find more information in the Better Factory website. If something has been published, typically there is a deliverable that is submitted by the project itself. So we are not only asking you deliverables, but we are also, as a Better Factory, obliged to upload and submit deliverables to the Commission and publish them in some of them in the Better Factory, in this case, in our website. So if something has already been published, it will be here. If not, I would say that you should wait until the matchmaking process starts, and the team in charge of this matchmaking process will learn you. This is one of the supports we are giving you anyway. So about ramp and also about apps. But it doesn't mean that right now this information is available. To be honest, I don't know if it's already uploaded, has been uploaded in the Better Factory website, because these apps is a platform that has been developing in the project itself, by the project, by some members of the consortium. So yeah, I don't know, to be honest, if at this point it's available. You can check that. And anyway, you can also invite you to, if you are very interested, to send us a question in the help desk, and we will get back to you. We will contact or contact with the right partner who's dealing with this specific area, and check if what is the information. But the first thing I would do is to check in the project website if there is a deliverable already talking about the apps.
Okay, and we have, I believe, a final question. What if you are working with assembly technology? Is that eligible?
You are working with
assembly technology.
Assembly technology.
Thomas, if you'd like to further explain this one, we can.
So, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, it's because we're working in assembly technology for electronic, and that's not even wood or metal applications. So that was just if that was this was a project for us or not.
Here, I would say the main how would I say it? What you need to be concerned or not is about the sector you are addressing, rather than an assembly technology. If this technology is applicable to one of the 6 sectors we are prioritizing, then it will be okay.
Okay, and if it's electronic manufacturing, then it's not the best fit.
Electronic manufacturing, you mean manufacturing in electronics or electronic?
Yeah, so assembling end products by putting PCBs in consumer goods or home appliances, these kind of things.
In any case, this I believe that I am not an expert in that, not a technical expert, but I understand that if you're talking about assembly technology is dealing with an end product that is dealing with or being applicable to a sector or to a certain industry. I mean, probably it's applicable to many industries, but what we are more interested is whether your proposal of the technology you are going to supply, manufacture, or you are going to test in the manufacturing SME is a technology that deals with one of these three, or is applicable to one of these three sectors.
Okay.
So I would say that as a summary, an SME for you is very important. So the manufacturing SME has to be one of these, dealing with these 6 sectors. If your technology is applicable to any, any sector, then the only thing is that you will need to find, a partner within the manufacturing SMEs that are out of these sectors. Because I would, in that case, that you would be able to apply your technology, I don't know, in plastic and rubber, for example. At this stage, you as a technology supplier, you are not obliged to be in these sectors, but because this is more thought for the manufacturing SME. This is a factory that is going to deploy your technology. The technology might be applicable to any sector in the world, but what we are asking you now is to let us know if you have had experience in the past with these kinds of companies in this sector. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That was the last question we had for today, Antonio.
Okay.
If anyone else would like to ask a question now, in written we don't have any more.
Okay, then you want to close the webinar, Anka?
Yes, I believe we can close the webinar now. Thank you everyone for your participation, for your attention. We will. I believe we have answered all your questions, but if other questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us through the help desk, and hope to see you soon in your applications.
And I also encourage all of you to read the guidelines here before submitting your proposal or your application. And also, if you have any questions that for some reasons you have not been able to reply correctly, the opportunity to use the help desk in this address to contact us, and we'll answer you as soon as possible. Thank all of you, and good luck for those who are going to apply.
Thank you. Bye-bye.